Welcome, dear explorers, to the Island of Knowledge. Today, I told you about the Pirahã language, which is often described as very unusual because researchers noticed it does not use separate words for exact numbers like we do and talks differently about colors. You saw how it is possible to communicate about quantity and appearance of the world without our usual names, and at the same time you discovered that languages can organize reality in very different ways. I invited you to join me in exploring this language mystery. At the Bay of Phenomena, I met Bat and Sloth. Bat said that in the Pirahã language there probably are no words for numbers, because when someone carried fish, fruits, or sticks, they counted only until one hand was full, the other hand, or the whole basket. So, it was assumed that more precise names were not needed. Sloth said that it must have been similar with colors, because in the forest, after sun, shade, and rain, everything looks a bit different. So, the people supposedly concluded that it was not worth inventing color names, since a fruit looks different in the morning than in the evening, and everyone could argue about it. Their ideas made me smile. I explained to them that it is not about full hands or avoiding arguments about shades, but a different way of building language, where quantity and color can be expressed more descriptively through comparison and context, not through separate exact labels. In the Golden Cave, I met Elephant and Crocodile. Elephant said that when sharing a handful of nuts with others, he did not always need to know the exact number, because it was enough to notice if there were few, more, or very many, and to show it with his hand or compare it to another pile. Crocodile said that when picking ripe fruits in the shade and sun, it was easier to point out that one was lighter, another darker, or that it looked like bark, leaf, or mud, than to name every shade with a separate word. I confirmed that these were good examples, because they show that people can speak effectively about the world even when their language relies on approximation, comparison, and context, instead of exact labels. At the Waterfall of Facts, I met Cockatoo and Toucan. I asked them what they knew about the Pirahã language. Cockatoo answered that researchers described this language as one that does not use words for exact numbers in our style, but instead often uses approximate terms. So comparison and situation become more important than precise counting of each element. Toucan added that the matter of colors is described similarly because instead of separate basic color names, more descriptive ways of talking about lightness, darkness, and similarity to known things may appear. This topic has sparked interest and discussions among linguists for years. I praise them for their great knowledge because they accurately showed that different languages do not have to divide the world exactly like ours, yet still allow people to communicate effectively. Dear researchers, today you saw that the Pirahã language is often presented as very unusual because it talks about quantity and color differently than many languages we know every day. You also understood that the lack of our usual names does not mean a lack of thinking, but a different way of organizing the world and sharing information. This is a great reminder that people can understand reality in many ways, and language does not always have to arrange it according to the same categories. See you on the next journeys across the Island of Knowledge.